Hello there YouTube, I'm Wheelchair21, and on today's rolling review, we'll be looking at the Ultraman Geed Deluxe Geed Riser. And as one can also see, we are actually at my old reviewer station, due to the fact that I need to get this review out and done quickly, due to the fact that I'm so excited to have another Ultraman Henshin device. And one cool thing is, since I did buy this during its initial release, I actually did acquire the Ultraman Zero Shining Ultra Capsule, which, as one can see, is in a marigold plastic with some nice gold metallic paint for the inner frame, as well as has a nice frickin' photo of Shining Zero inside. As one can also see, though, the Ultra Capsules are kind of like Judenchi, but they're more bullet-shaped, still have the scanning effect because you actually plug these into the reader on the data card-ass Ultra Fusion fight games in Japan, and pretty much they have a slide gimmick which shows them holding a ball of energy. Now, for the actual box art here for the Geed Riser, one can see we see Geed here on the left with his additional forms of Solid Burning, Acro Smasher, and this is Primitive. You have just Belial by himself. You have the two capsules for the Kaiju Belial Fusion-Beasts, which are Gomora and Red King, and then you have regular Ultraman and Belial for Geed. Now, both sides, the right side shows Skull Gomora, the left side shows Geed Primitive, and the top gives us a nice little profile view of the characters. However, the back of the box gives us a good explanation on how to load the capsules into the actual scanning holster, as well as the actual Geed Riser itself, and in addition shows that you can make these fusions, which are actual show forms. We have Primitive, Skull Gomora, Solid Burning, which is using 7 in Leo. This case will come out later this month, most likely towards the end of the month leading into August. And then it also teases one form that you can get that you can use only in the Data Card-ass Ultra Fusion fight game. Now, if you get the belt, which I did not, you'll get an Amirium Slugger Orb capsule. And if you use it with Belial, you will get this mystery form, which has all been revealed as Ultraman Geed Trinity Slugger, or it's called Tri-Slugger. It has 2 names right now, and that's about it. So let's actually get into our toy and talk a bit more about how it works. Now, first off, this is everything that one would get if you initially buy the Deluxe Geed Riser. You have your Ultra Capsules, your actual capsule holster, you have your Geed Riser, you'll have a clip which is hidden behind the first round bonus Datus card, as well as the Ultra Capsule Shining Zero. Now, first off, let's look at this nice trading card. This is a version of the card that you can use and play with on the Datus card-ass Ultra Fusion fight game. There are other cards like it. Now, the card has changed significantly since, I think, the inaugural debut of the series, which came in during Orb. I think it was just a advanced, upgraded version of what originally was for, like, the other Ultra series before, like with Ginga and Ginga S and X. However, since I don't live in Japan and I haven't gone to Japan, I never really played the game, so I don't know too much about it. And the back gives you a nice promotional thing about stuff that will be happening soon. I don't know Japanese at all, but, you know, it just says about what's going on this freaking year. And you have your barcode scanner, so you can actually have it be read in the machine, so you can play as freaking Geed Primitive. The actual capsules, like I said, they kind of look like Judenchi. They're a little bit more bullet-like, as well as they host a photo of the Ultra or the Kaiju. Now, the thing is, underneath these photos or these stickers is the actual scanning chip that is used with the Geed Riser. And as one can see, if you push this little valve up or this little clip up, you'll see a little energy orb now appears in Ultraman's hand. The back is pretty basic, very cylinder. Like I said, has like this weird kind of key function slide here, but it's also to help lock into your actual holster. And on the bottom, as you can see, it has the typical kind of pegs that we see on gimmick toys to activate the lights and sounds. Now, I don't know if there's going to be a toy that actually uses these pegs, but what I do know is the pegs are currently being used to scan them in the actual Datus machines, from what I've been told. I could be wrong, but maybe you actually insert the capsules similar to how you do with the holster. Belial's quite nice. I do enjoy it. I like a lot of the details and stickers put in. Nice artwork is done on these. I mean, I love a lot of the artwork that goes into the Ultra series, whether it been all the previous trading cards or mangas or books that we get. It's very interesting. Here is his actual peg scanner. We have Gomora now. Now, the Kaiju Capsules use a nice, almost gunmetal black. It's a bit of a fusion between the both, because it does look a little bit gray, but it does have a basic black kind of plastic. It all just depends on the way that the light really does hit it. His bottom has, 3 on the side, 1 on the right, and really do like how they did the artwork for Gomora. Kind of looks a lot like the original actual artwork we see in the original Ultraman series, when they had like the giant poster of what a Gomorasaurus is. And on top, it more or less looks like a light bulb rather than an energy ball. I don't know what the deal was. Maybe they didn't want to have like a tail sticking up or like a horn sticking up, because it would look just a little stupid and wonky, and it doesn't expect like a kaiju to reach their hands all the way up in the air. Red King's is pretty awesome. I like the fact that his background is actually a red background. It really goes with the whole joke of Red King, even though he's not really red except in Ultraman powered. Still, nice capsule, similar to actually Gomora's. Let's see the difference. There is no difference. The pegs are actually the same, which is kind of interesting then. So I wonder what goes on if they have the same pegs, how it works with the actual machines in Japan. And he also has a red sphere. Now, as slightly promoted earlier on in the video, this is the Zero one. Nice artwork, nice gold. I really love this. Honestly, I would have loved if the entire capsule had this nice gold throughout the entire body. It would make it more of a real campaign item. Hell, if it was even in chromed out gold plastic, it would make it even more wonderful. And he also has a blue shining orb when you activate it. Now, you actually have to slide it before you actually insert it into your holster/reader. This is the clip to put it onto your belt. This is the scanner. As one can see, it's really basic. It's really interesting. I mean, the knuckle itself, you can't really fit all 4 fingers in. It's best to hold it with 3 and your thumb out and your pinky under it. In the show, you can actually communicate with Rem, the AI of the secret underground base, through holding just this thing alone. And honestly, this kind of makes me feel like it's supposed to be like one of those science fiction keys, the way you hold it and you plug it in, almost like in Star Trek. I also feel like it looks like a small little pistol rifle. It just looks really interesting. I like it. I would like to actually find a way to make a resin cast of this and turn it into more like an actual pistol in general, just because I love the whole shotgun loading-esque ability. Now, honestly, the way it works is kind of ludicrous, and one easily just plugs in your stuff as so. And you pretty much now have your actual things locked. It's just, though, better that you actually make sure both of your orbs are up when reading and scanning the device. I don't think it really affects how the scanning works, but you never know. I'm not too sure. I haven't tested out everything just yet. Now, with the Geed Riser, the main piece is really interesting. It has like a DNA-like double helix barrel to show the fusion ability of your capsules being used when scanned. It has a nice basic red plastic. It has accents of black and silver and a nice gold accent piece here. One thing I really do like is it tries to, in a sense, recreate his bodysuit through this design, as well as if you look at how the cylinder piece here for where the DNA helix is, it's very reminiscent of what his color timer actually is. His color timer is very ovular, and it's really interesting. Now, the back is pretty basic, pretty naked. I would actually have thought that they'd put a little bit of detail in here where these crevices are to highlight the backside, but they don't really care that much, I guess. This here is pretty much where you would think batteries go into, but they're not. It just says your copyright. And the way you put your batteries in is actually through the top here. Right here up on here where my thumb is where you push in the peg and unslide it. It takes 3 AAA batteries. Now, honestly, I thought the on switch would be up here, but it's actually down here underneath. It has that weird little sound, so let me turn it on and off again. One thing I noticed is the sound is actually very low on this upon activation for just turning it on. However, when you start scanning it, it does get a little bit louder. I do like the fact that the LED lights are on the side. I wish, though, that it was more like in the show where somehow they could have managed to get the actual helix to light up so it can actually show the scans as we go through it. Also, the cool thing is with these actual capsules, you actually can scan each of the capsules individually, and you'll get additional sounds, either them shouting "Shuash" or their roars, depending on if you have an Ultraman or a Kaiju. Now, when actually using your Geed riser, you're going to want to lock in the holster and scan it as so, sliding it across like this. Now, personally, I don't like doing it like this, due to the fact that it's a little bit faulty. It kind of double scans capsules, and it does kind of mess up a few times when reading the actual capsule. Sometimes it's actually better to just do it in a more, should I say, individual way by just holding up the capsule to the scanner and then reading it. Now, for the actual first transformation, though, I will do it the correct way. I just got to get a proper way of holding it in place and scanning it so that one can see the lights as the sounds activate. So, here we go. Let's try it. Click the lever, or I should say trigger. Scan 1. You go. I go. Here we go. Now, when scanning them again, you'll actually get the actual special attack called the Wrecking Burst. Now let's look at our capsules individually. And now our fusion beast of Skull Gomora. And their signature attack. Now, when using the Kaiju capsules individually, it just makes it pronounces their name as well as pronounces their roars. And what I'm guessing in the show is when you use one by itself, it'll just summon the basic Kaiju. When you use the two together, as long as they're compatible, it will create your fusion. And pretty much in the show, almost anything is probably compatible, but because of writing and production, only specific fusions will occur. And finally, let's look at our freaking limited campaign run for the Ultra Capsules Shining Zero, which is pretty freaking awesome. It is a little bit longer than the rest of the individual capsules, but let's hear what it has to say before we fuse it with Ultraman to get Shining Mystic. Alright, now since we've gone through the actual demo portion of the review of how the lights and sounds work, let's talk about the overall toy at hand. First off, the fact that it has a built-in reader that can do two different voices, the good and the bad, for when you fuse an Ultraman to become Ultraman Geed and where you fuse the Kaiju to become a Fusion Beast, is really good and interesting. It makes it that there's probably not going to be a premium Bandai version of the Geed Riser later on, like there was the Orb Ring, where you had to get that to get the villainous voice that Juggler had for his version of the Orb Ring, when he would summon out all of the monsters or just use his cards to fight, Guy. So having this two-in-one kind of aspect is incredible and shows great strides to the Ultraman toys. The only thing I don't like is you can't really fuse an Ultraman with a Kaiju unless there's a specific fusion that you have to do to execute it. I'm guessing is probably going to be released through capsules at a later time, or an additional device that either maybe clips on, similar to the Neo Zero Eye Slugger, or whatever it's called, the Neo Zero Eye, that goes over top of the actual device here to turn Zero into Zero Beyond. As well as, I don't think there's going to be that many combinations that exceed the fusion of 2, even though Orb had one that did 3. There is rumors to get Zero Beyond, you have to connect like I said, the Zero Eye to the Geed Riser, then fuse together Ginga, Victory, Orb, and X together. So I wonder how that's going to actually work. Those are all just rumors now. And the other cool additive is the fact that, you get a campaign item if you buy it during its initial run during the premiere of the series. So I'm guessing by now most of these have sold out at retail stores in Japan, as well as some online hobby shops, due to the fact that this is supposedly the only way one can get this capsule, which can obtain a video game form for people in Japan when you fuse these two capsules together. I'm glad, though, since I got it through HobbyLink Japan, I did get the campaign, unlike what happened to the Q-Tamas for Pegasus and Oguma, which are now their own campaign at the store. So the fact that, I got this is really good and had me very delighted, excited when I opened up that package, because at first I was depressed that I didn't get it, but then I noticed it was tucked away on the side of the box, and I was like, yes, I got it. So I'm so happy and excited. So honestly, like I said, I feel like this is a real improvement to the Orb Ring. The fact that you can scan stuff is really good. I'm not really keen on using this to scan my capsules. I actually prefer just holding them individually in front of it and then reading it, but this is, like I say, a nice, cool little design, nevertheless, for your actual holster as well as communications device. In the next review, we will be looking at the freaking DX Ultra Capsule Fusion Rise set, which actually has another video game form, as you can see, with Maga Orochi and Arc Belial, and then we have freaking Luna Miracle, as well as Spacium Zeperion. So, we'll get into that next time. Anyways, if you did like this review, please leave a like, comment, as well as subscribe if you're not already subscribed to my channel. And please follow me on various social media accounts, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or SoundCloud. I'll see you all next time, and hey man, you go, I go, here we go.